So anyway, we're gonna go over USD JPY. Okay, but this thing that I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna look at the turning point, all right, and analyze it. Basically, I'm gonna analyze the pullback. So as the market is pulling back, take a look at the turning point on that pullback and see how the supply and demand dynamics turn. What are the supply and demand dynamics of the pullback? So this style is pretty cool. So first thing is, okay. So we're gonna observe right here. I'll mark that area with a circle. Why? Because there's a breakout, right? There's a breakout right here. Where's my arrow? This is a breakout, a rally, correction, back to test the breakout. So I want to see what is going on during that test of the breakout. Alright, now I could analyze this turning point up here. There's plenty of points. There's one here, one here. There's just points where demand and where supply overcame demand, demand overcame supply, supply overcame demand, and demand is going to overcome supply. So I want to go into those turning points and see what the hell is going on there that is causing the market to turn, right? That's what I want to do. So we have a breakout, and I'm interested in the turning point that occurs on the test of the breakout, right there in the circle. So in that circle, what we're going to do is go to a lower time frame tape reading chart. Now you can use a tape reading chart, you can use an order flow chart. It just needs to be able to, you can use, what is that, market delta or volume, whatever, those types of charts, and really see the supply and demand dynamics at those points. So first thing to do is to go to that area. We see okay. So now we see how the market is behaving. Alright, let me just paste that button. Alright. So basically, this down move on the wave and the bar chart, we're going to analyze on the lower time frame chart. It goes down and goes up and then goes down. Right? Alright. Now, what is occurring in that circle? In that circle, we see that as price went down, it formed a little base. Okay? It formed a little base. Not only did it form a little base, it dipped below that area with no volume. That's why I have a zero there. You see that zero? That's an important indication that when it went down there, it didn't find no volume. Right here, that little zero, let's put an arrow there. Okay? And also in that area, someone picked up 1500. That's that 15 right there. 1500 units or whatever. So you have base, you have volume coming in right here. You have a test that has nothing. And then you have this. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. it breaks out above 8 highs or 8 columns, and it's a big bar. It's a thrust. It's a, how you could say it is a breakout of a smaller region. So now let's see how it looks on the bar chart up here. You see it went down, side, there's your little spring, followed by reversal, thrust up. Okay? So that's what we see, and that's what we understand. This is how the market reversed. The key indication was 0 over here. There's also some 0 action over here, but we're looking at this one because it's on a test of a breakout. There's high volume. There is a little base, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, of about 8 columns. And then there's a violent thrust up. Now there's not a lot of volume in the thrust, but there is a thrust, and that's also like, this also can be interpreted many ways. If there's high volume, or if there's not a lot of volume but the price is going straight up, that can also be interpreted as seas of movement, which means that the market on the resistance side is thin. It's the indication of a thin market, which means that if you have a market that's thin, there's not a lot of overhead supply. But that's another story. Anyway, so that's what we see. So now we see that. Now let's take a look at the other turning point right here. It's very interesting right here. Why I say it's interesting? Because this base is bigger. Alright, the base is bigger, which is very important. So I'm going to put a little, let's see, a little range right there, and let's see how this reaccumulation occurred. Alright, on a lower time frame. What we see here is price goes down, it does base out, you have your 0 prints here, here, here. You do have heavy volume here. You do have heavy volume here. You do have higher support, high support. This is a nice print right here, the 17, right? And then you have a breakout. Okay. But was there anything in this area, in this region, that told us that, yeah, you know, this is reaccumulation? This is what we're trying to get at, to see if there were any hardcore indications. The 0 prints and the base, the high volume inside of it, and then the breakout. Okay? So those are the indications that we see. Let's take a look at it in candle form. Goes down, hinges, breaks out, holds. Right here, that's kind of a rehinge right here. So analyzing this minutia, this like on a very microscopic view, is very important when taking a look at turning points in bar as well as wave charts, to make sense of what the hell is going on, and dissecting them so we can analytically figure out, like, is the move going to be good or not. What we know immediately is that there's a base, you know, immediately there's high volume, there's zeros, there's high low, and there's a break. Same thing here with a base, there's a high volume print, there's a 0, and there's a breakout. Got a breakout here. But it actually comes later, so I guess I can't use that. It would be nice if there was a thrust up here. On this chart, you do have it. It did occur right there, as indicated by that little green bar. That little green bar is bigger than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. About 7 bars. That green bar occurred right here. Where is the arrow? Right there, which means this area was the base. That's your breakout, that's your test, that's your rally. Anyway, so this is the type of analysis you want to do, is also not just go from higher time frame, lower time frame, but take it one step lower into an order flow chart, some type of order flow chart, any type of order flow chart, and see the volume at that very, very small level, at a very, what they call microscopic level. That's actually what Wyckoff called the tapereading chart. He said, like, it's used to look at it at a microscopic level, whereas the wave chart is to determine the immediate trend of the market. So, I'm going to be doing more studies with this tapereading chart because it requires a specialized, I guess, understanding or whatever. Like one thing we know is that when it starts hinging like that, when there's the force of supply is gone. Like right there, the force of supply, there's no supply. When it makes the higher lows and goes on sideways like that, that shit's gonna break because the base is there, the low volume is there, the tightening of the ranges is there. The breakout right here, first on 1900, then on 1200 right here. So these are bullish indications. Anyway, this may be interpreted as effort reward, or they're just buying it at this level, 1800. And 1800, note that is bigger than all the prior prints, 11, 1000, 9, 13, 15, 10. So this is the biggest print. And then there's the biggest print here, 19. 1800 was the biggest in the base, and this 19 was the biggest on coming out of the base. So we see that here you have 1500. It's not the biggest, but it is larger than these numbers. Just I think just one or two of them. And they had a big ease of movement bar, which made the retest probable, because you have basically breakout and test. Right? Anyway, I'm going to be doing more of this, so just stay tuned, because I think it's very helpful for me also to learn like the very fine technique that Wyckoff knew and he wrote about it, but it's not really taught nowadays. Anyway, have a good night. Bye.